And we are live. Welcome to episode 38 of the RetroSlot podcast featuring JSniperton. What's up, Jay? How you been, man?
Good. How are you? When are you going to stop saying featuring?
I don't know. What should I be saying?
Featuring yourself.
And for the first time, JSniperton. Tonight's guest only.
Yeah. Only tonight.
Yeah,
Never again.
For tonight.
Good.
In our rotating chair, JSniperton.
Ryan's just waiting in the background like,
How are you, man?
Good. It was a busy weekend. Theo, my son, my 5-year-old, got to do his first competitive thing, and it was chess.
Oh. I saw you tweeting about this.
Yes, and it was interesting, amongst COVID and all that stuff, just that whole thing. But then having a 5-year-old who doesn't really know how to play chess yet, is barely just kind of learning how the pieces move and all that stuff, and just throwing him in the deep end, here, let's go compete.
Yeah.
Against other 5-year-olds, one of which his first game was against a shark.
Oh, really?
Like a 5-year-old chess shark. He was just telling my son where he could and couldn't move, and my son was getting frustrated and stuff. And I was getting in my own head, I didn't prepare him well enough, yada yada. But really, I think it was a good experience for him, and now he wants to play chess more. So.
Oh, that's good. Well, I mean, that's a success, right? It's
right.
If the outcome is I want to do this more, then big win.
Yeah. It wasn't traumatizing,
Yeah.
And he wanted to stick with it on Saturday. He wasn't I want to go home. So it's all right, okay, so it's fine.
How did you settle on chess? I know people start kids young on chess. I just never actually seen it happen.
Well, it was one of those things. He's in elementary school, and we got a flyer. It was there's gonna be chess club starting up in a couple of weeks if you want to get. So we're all right, why not? It's a good thing. I'm not big into chess, but I know that it's pretty popular right now, and I do know, I know the basics and whatnot, but I only really played with my dad occasionally as a kid, But I'm the kind of person where I was raised. And my parents just kind of put me in all the activities.
Same.
Just get the fuck out of the house. Go do something that's not it's not video games. So
yeah.
I think, especially, it was free. So it's one of those things where just if he shows interest, just get him in it. He's starting soccer in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
Just whatever opportunities we have, I just want to get him in activities and figure out what he likes to do.
When I was a kid, the rule was that you have to finish the season, but you don't have to sign up again. You know what I mean? And I tried to institute that as a parent, because I thought it was a pretty good rule when I was a kid. It seemed fair, right? It's if I
once you're in it,
once you're in it, you have to finish the the season or the session or the whatever, however they break it up, or the paid lessons, whatever they are. But I felt like I got to try a bunch of different stuff because of that. But I never felt locked in. If I didn't like something, I didn't feel like I had to just keep doing it forever. You hear about people who had to play piano until their fingers fucking bled. I never had to do that. I played, all sorts of different stuff, and I latched on to some of it and played a lot of it or did a lot of it. But I didn't have to do the stuff I didn't like, and I thought that was a really good way of doing it. And that's what I tried to do for my kids too.
For sure. Were you ever conned into trying something that you didn't want to, where your parents were like, yeah, you should go give this a shot, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to, and they're like, just go to one rehearsal or one practice, and if you don't like it, you don't have to go back?
Not by my parents. I think my friends did it to me, when I was a kid. My friends would be like, yo, band is really fun, you're gonna really enjoy this. All we do is hang out and have fun, and I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I hated it, but it was
Briar.
Hey man, I love music, and I wish that I was I feel like people who could play an instrument are superheroes. It's a superpower because I can't even comprehend. It must be magic because I cannot comprehend how it works. I have tried to learn guitar. For a decade, I was taking lessons, and I was terrible. And my fingers just don't do the thing.
Yeah, I can't do that either. I get cramps and stuff.
But my son is in the next room, and I'll hear him because I just gave him my guitar, like probably 3 or 4 years ago. He's never had a lesson. He just is self-taught, and he plays really well. And it's really
there's so many resources out there now too.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
YouTube and such.
I have no hate toward band. It wasn't for me. Like I really liked wrestling, and that wasn't for a lot of people too.
Yeah. I'm giving Briar crap because band was basically my life for a decade or so. Drumline band. Drumline's a little bit of a different beast than just like band, but it's all kind of the same, really. Same experience. But how have you been,
I ain't
man?
trying to yuck anybody's yum except for furries. Like I'm all over yucking that yum.
I'm gonna stay away from that. I'll let you dig your own grave there.
You got it. I've been good. I've been playing. The game of the week this week was Metal Slug, not Metal Gear, Metal Slug.
I did that a lot too in my head.
So I've been playing that quite a bit. I didn't restrict myself to just the first one. So I've been playing through a bunch of them.
There's a lot of them.
There are quite a few. And then there's like a bunch of like side games. Like there's almost an infinite number of Metal Slug like side games that you can't even play anymore. Like they're on like mobile phones that don't, mobile platforms that don't exist anymore or whatever. I finally got over my Elden Ring addiction, which was...
What happened?
There was I beat the game finally.
Okay.
And then that was at about 135 hours in game, right? Like the counter in game was at 135. And then I put another 20 hours in because I just didn't want to be done with it, right? But I was also like had this like hangover, like this depression because it was so good. I didn't want it to be done. You know what I mean? Like it was just so sad that it was over. So I'll probably do another playthrough at some point. I'll give it some time. And then I started playing Gran Turismo 7, the new one. But that one, I don't know. The stuff around the edges of that really kind of make me mad. Like all the DRM issues and the microtransaction stuff. Like the driving is super fun, but there's a ton of really good driving games out, especially on PC, where I could set up like the full VR setup and the steering wheel and really feel like much more immersed than just having it on a TV screen with a controller in my hand. Does that make sense?
Picture you like putting a helmet on and
yeah, man, fuck yeah,
not like a speed,
not a helmet, but like a VR helmet, like a VR headset.
Okay, yeah.
That is like,
I mean, they're basically
super fun.
They're basically racing helmets. Come on.
Well, the PlayStation one. Getting pretty close. It was my birthday last week, and I had a nice birthday with my wife.
Birthday.
Me and my wife went out for like a nice like day together, like on a random Tuesday. Just like spent the day together, like driving around and seeing cool stuff and just being together, which was really nice because unfortunately we don't get a lot of time to do that, like to be together. Mm-hmm. Like there's always something needing to be done. Does that make sense?
Getting old, man.
Yeah.
You gotta like carve that time out.
It is hard to do. But yeah, other than that, like pretty good couple of weeks. I still haven't gotten the Street Fighter arcade machine, so it can only be that good.
Still on that, yeah. No progress there.
So I have about like $300 worth of Amazon credit right now, and it's only $500. I'm like, I have $200 for an arcade. Like, that'd be cool.
Keep by next Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm hoping that this week we can go catch the new Batman movie in theaters,
yes,
but only because the theater close to us is like older and almost completely empty every time we go there. So, because I don't want anybody, right next to me still. But,
the time to go to the movie theater if you want an empty movie theater is like 11 o'clock on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, that's what it would be. It would be like early afternoon matinee.
Yeah.
Anyways, because our schedule and our kids and stuff.
Many moons ago, I was on a movie podcast, and we had to watch 2 movies per week.
In the theaters?
In the theater. Most weeks were in the theater. Like, eventually, I could not maintain the pace. And we busted it down to 1 movie in the theater and 1 movie like a video rental or like a Netflix movie or something. But man, it was, or a lot of like Tuesday afternoon matinees, like on my lunch break from work, just go see a movie.
Yourself.
Yeah. Which is not like a great way to go see a movie. The movie
I've
watching
never,
experience does impact your enjoyment of a movie.
Yeah. I've never in my life gone to see a movie in the theater by myself.
No?
Not once.
Really? Never. Is there, you got a hang up about it? Or you just...
I don't know. It's it's ironic because like it's a social experience for me by not talking.
Yeah.
It's like, shut the fuck up. We're here together to be silent.
Yeah. I used to hate like when dates wanted to go to the movies as a date, especially a first date, because I always found it so uncomfortable sitting next to somebody on a first date,
don't know them at all.
You don't really know them, like, because it's your first date and you can't talk during the movie, so it's like you're just sitting there, like next to somebody. It's like the worst, like early dating, right? I don't understand why it's like a thing, you know? Hated it. Dinner,
Here's the
like
trick.
bowling, like mini golf, like anything like that is way better.
Yeah. Here's the trick, though, Briar. Just don't.
The old hole in the bottom of the popcorn. I know that trick. You got a different
my
trick?
time here. This has turned into a completely different podcast.
That
this belongs on a special website now. I've never been on a proper date. Like both serious relationships I had just kind of happened.
Oh, really? You've never gone like on just a random date with like somebody you didn't know?
Nope.
Wow. That must be marvelous.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a ladies' man, so
I'm not.
I was lucky to get what I got.
Yeah, same. We got some retro news this week. You want to talk about that?
Sure thing. First one's kind of sad.
Yeah, this one's super sad. So, EverDrive is closing its doors. So, if you guys, you know what an EverDrive is?
I do.
So, for the audience, anybody who doesn't know, an EverDrive is a cartridge that you put into old hardware like an NES, Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, NEO Geo even, and it simulates a cartridge for that system, but it has a SD card slot that you can load all the ROMs that you want. So basically, it enables you to use original hardware to play any games that you want. Downloaded games or backup games. Unfortunately, the most popular one is EverDrive, and generally regarded as the best one as well. Is a Ukraine-based company, and the guy who runs it, Crix, actually had to flee the country. Everybody knows about the current war in Ukraine, and this is, it's just another one of those kind of sad stories about it. So they've closed their doors, which sucks because he had a bunch of employees that made these things, and they've had to, go out of business temporarily or hopefully temporarily. I don't know. It's just, It's a real bummer,
Yeah, it's got to be a logistical nightmare amongst other things, but hopefully they stay safe. I did see a tweet about Crix he's safe, but
yeah, I think he made it to Spain or something.
Yeah, I would think that this is a temporary thing, but temporary could be a couple of years to get things back together. And I can only imagine just from the resale market side, because these things are not cheap.
No, they're not.
Realistically, you're talking about a couple $100, but my guess is over the next year or two, they're going to spike hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
like if you want one of these, you could still get them, I think, on Stone Age Gamer. At least when I wrote this news down, they were still available on Stone Age Gamer. So like if you want one of these things, strike right this second, because it could be several years before you have another chance. There are other companies that make them as well. Like for the Mega Drive or Sega Genesis, I think Terra Onion makes it. They also make one for the TurboGrafx and the Neo Geo. But for the NES, the Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo. Like, actually, isn't there another SD2 SNES? I think is not run by Crix, right? Or EverDrive.
I honestly don't know. This is a whole world that I have not.
But yeah,
really.
I mean, this is a real bummer, and it's just it's a small thing on the long list of like awful shit that's happening over there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like it's kind of like an insight to like, oh yeah, like this is really fucking people's lives up.
Yeah,
sucks.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's hard too because, just like a side note, as an American or anybody else really that's not experiencing this firsthand, you want to be empathetic and compassionate to what's happening, but you also don't want to get stuck in looking at news and kind of bringing down your own world too, so there's like that fine line there. So it's tough. Wishing the best for them. Sure.
Laser Bear Industries has introduced a controller adapter for the Sega Genesis. So what this thing does is you can plug in 2 Sega Genesis controllers, like the 9-pin kind of old school Sega Genesis controllers, and that converts it to USB that you can plug into like a Mister or a Raspberry Pi or a PC, so you can use real Sega Genesis controllers on some of these other devices, which I thought that's really cool. And the thing is only like $35. It's super cheap.
My brain goes and sees this stuff and tries to figure out what the use case is here, as opposed to getting like a a wireless controller or a wired newer controller or something. I'm wondering if this kind of thing is more acceptable for speedrunners and such. Or
maybe
this is just,
or you just want to play Sega Genesis games with a Sega Genesis controller. Like it's part of that. Part of the feel of playing a Sega Genesis game is that controller, especially the old 3-button pad, which is so unlike any other controller that's ever been made. Like it really has a distinct feel and distinct shape, like that Batwing design. Normally I play actually most retro games with these 8-bit do. I think they're M30s, which is kind of shaped like a Sega Genesis 6-button controller. It's kind of like a cross between a Saturn controller and a 6-button controller for the Sega Genesis. But when I do pick up a 3-button controller, it brings me back.
big too. Those controllers are surprisingly large.
Yeah, they are. They are. So this is cool, and it's so cheap. It's it's a 3D printed thing. It's got some electronics in it, but they're not super complicated. And it'll plug into just about anything that has a USB port.
That's cool.
Yeah. It'll even work with the M30 controllers, because you can buy the M30 controller with a Sega Genesis receiver. So you can even do that.
Find that incredibly ironic, using a wireless 8-bit do controller with the like.
So the thing about that though is that those are actually lower latency than the USB ones.
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah,
at that point, curious why you wouldn't go because you can put a wire if you get like a USB cord.
Yeah.
And go hardwire. Is it faster, or is it still using the wireless technology for that?
It depends on what you're plugging it into and what kind of electronics are in your USB. There is a dude on the internet. He is actually the guy who runs. I forgot his name. I think it is. It's his name. He's named after the main character from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
It'll come to me. But he's got a webpage that is just controller latency testing, like all sorts of controllers.
Yeah, a few podcasts ago, I remember that.
And I mean, it's pretty informative, because if you're gonna buy a USB controller, you might as well get one with low latency. And when you're talking about especially 8-bit do stuff, where you go on their store and there's 4 different versions of the M30 controller, and you don't know what the differences are, you can look at that and be like, oh, okay, well, this actually clears things up.
Nice.
Next up, TMNT Cowabunga collection was announced. Did we talk about this last episode? I couldn't remember when I put it on here.
I think it was just announced last podcast, but I think they came out with some more details on it since.
I mean, we got the full list of games. I think we weren't sure, right? Were we not sure about what games were on there?
I think they had the original trailer, but didn't have like all the details.
Okay, so we now know that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, Turtles in Time, the arcade game, all 4 NES games, Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo, Tournament Fighters for the Super Nintendo, Hyperstone Heist, and Tournament Fighters for the Sega Genesis, and Fall of the Foot Clan, Back from the Sewers, and Radical Rescue are for the Game Boy are all in there. This is a fucking lot of games.
Yeah, and I was watching the Pat Country CU podcast, and they were talking about how the arcade games, it's the first time they've come out to like a console or anything really since there was like an Xbox 360 version.
Live arcade version, but it sucked. Like it was really bad.
That was a long time ago. That was 15 years ago. So
yeah,
it's been a long time since we've seen these.
Yeah, and this is coming to the Switch and to Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. So there's like a bunch of different ways to play it. I think I'm going to buy like a couple of versions of this, honestly.
I'll probably get the Switch version and call it good.
I'll probably get the PlayStation and the Switch version because I like to play the games like I like to play big screen games on a PlayStation, not on the Switch, just because I like the extra fidelity of like that the PlayStation provides. Not that it'll make a big difference. I wonder if it'll make much of a difference for this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like these classic retro game collections, though, to start having a 4K display. You know, like upscaling to 4K. I know that sounds ridiculous, but when you're talking about 240p games and you're talking about up-resing them 1080p, if you do the math, it doesn't work out right. So you have to have all sorts of interpolation and like weird pixels reshaping and resizing to get it to look right. And a lot of companies do it wrong. But if you multiply 240 or you divide 4K or whatever it is, like 3496 or whatever, like the actual resolution of 4K is by 240, it's an even number. So 4K is actually like the best way to upscale these games. It's just that like very few hardware scalers are capable of it, but the modern consoles are definitely capable of doing this. And I don't understand why they're not taking advantage of it when they do these re-releases.
For sure. I mean, it seems like their method was to create these shadow boxes behind, you know, the kind of backgrounds, and they're the pictures that we're looking at, the inlays of the gameplay is typical to like a Super Game Boy. If you remember that, it had the kind of background, and then they kind of cropped the screen down to fit a certain resolution, so that they don't have to worry about people's screen sizes and stuff. They can maintain the 4x3 or whatever. I think it was 4x3, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's generally not how I like to play those. I like to blow them up, and then if there's an option to turn off those backgrounds, I like to turn them off so I have black bars on the side instead of.
Yeah, if you can stretch it, that'd be nice. Who knows if this has that option? The thing that I find, I was just gonna say, the thing that I find the most interesting is that there's online functionality for some of these.
Yeah.
So both the arcade games and both of Hyperstone Heist and Tournament Fighters for Super Nintendo. So those 4 games are online.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Like this could be like you could base like a little arcade around this. Like if you have friends over, you just want to play a couple of, have a little arcade night, play some Tournament Fighters or some Turtles in Time.
I really have not played Tournament Fighters or Hyperstone Heist at all. I was thinking about picking Hyperstone Heist or Manhattan Project as one of the games to play. I think maybe we should do that after this is released so that,
or like the week before.
Play it. Yeah.
From what I understand, I think I have played Tournament Fighters on the Super Nintendo, but not since it was like a new game. Like I rented it from Blockbuster, right? And I remember it not being awesome. But I've heard that the Sega Genesis game is not as good as the Super Nintendo game. So maybe I rented the Sega Genesis version.
The Genesis version, from what I heard, is a little bit darker.
I heard it just doesn't run as well either. It just doesn't play as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I can't wait for this to come out, though. I'm really actually excited for it. And as a recent convert to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for the NES, the first one actually being a decent game, Like, I'm just happy to see it on the list.
Yeah. I don't think there's an official release date yet. It just says 2022.
Yeah. Hopefully it's soon. Oh, I'd love it to come out this summer because, like, this winter, like, actually, like, I think this week is like the last big week of like major AAA releases, and then we have like a big drop off in like what's coming out for the rest of the year. So I'd love to see this get like a little bit of time in the sun, you know?
For sure.
I'm just happy that they were able to make this happen too. You know, getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license, getting Konami on board, getting Nickelodeon on board, getting everybody to like kind of like sign off on this project. It's so many games. And you know, I have a few Konami collections. I have both of the Castlevania collections, and I have the Contra collection, and they're all really good. So if the collection is handled as well as those, I think we're in for a delightful package.
Yeah, I imagine that's why it's $39.99 is because of the licensing and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you think
Like,
that's a poor price? Do you think that's too expensive?
I mean, I'm gonna buy it, so
Yeah.
no. But you know, I'd like to have seen it. I think the other collections were what, $19.99 and $29.99. So this is I think one of the more expensive ones.
Okay.
Could be because of the licensing and whatnot, but
It's a lot of games though too.
it is. It is. And there's online functionality too, which is nice because they have
Yeah,
to
that's true.
do that. So I don't know if the other games had it or even needed it because they were all like single player experiences, right?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even read this. Digital Eclipse is the one who adapted this over. They've been doing
Do we
good
know
work.
what else they've done?
Yeah, they do everything. Yeah, they've been doing like Capcom stuff for years. They've been doing all sorts of stuff for a long time. They've had some rough patches, but they've seemed to be doing good stuff lately.
Nice.
What else we got?
So I found a few other things. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Still, however many years later, 37 years later, people are speedrunning this. And somebody named Summoning Salt has broken a new world record. And he did it blindfolded.
This is the guy who runs the YouTube channel about like speedrunners, like the history of speedruns. It's a great YouTube channel.
Super cool. So I actually watched this entire video because Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Is one of my favorite games of all time. He beats it in just under 20 minutes total. And he's doing it with a bag over his head, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And he's done it so many times, you know, like just the idea of, yeah, I've never beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Either. I've gotten to Mike Tyson legit, but I've never actually, I know that he does the wink thing and whatnot, but you have to be so fast. And a lot of times with newer platforms or like emulated scenarios, there's a little bit of input delay too, which makes it a lot harder. Even a split second, you know, because you have to react so fast. But just knowing all the different scenarios, and there's certain RNG elements to this of like how long it takes to guys to get up, like how long it takes till they do certain attacks, and all of that lining up to get a world record is pretty serious. So, I thought it was
so he
cool.
plays completely by the sound of the game and like timing, right? It's just knowing the timing of like what needs to be happening.
Yeah, there was one specific moment that I was just like, holy shit, because there was no sound. And it was completely silent for 9 seconds before the enemy attacked.
Wow.
And there was like apparently so there was two different times that it happened. The first time he did it and it was completely silent. He nailed it. It was like 7 or 8 seconds. And then the second time there was apparently like I think 3, 5, or 9 seconds. There's certain RNG elements to how long it can take. And he's like dodging. And then he comes back and he gets nailed and knocked down. He's like, yeah, I got bad RNG there. It was the 9-second delay. So just the element of randomness there is crazy to me.
Man, being blindfolded and blaming RNG, that's next level.
Kind of hard to complain now, isn't it?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Congratulations to that guy. I'm sure he'll do another video on his channel about it too. Was the video up on his channel?
Yes, his YouTube channel. I was wishing that he like finished it and then took it off. But what the video ends with him just like beating it, and it shows the times on the left or on the
Yeah.
right. But he's just like, it's just silent. He's just like kind of tapping on his controller with the music, and then it fades out. Like there's no reaction. There's no, I did it. There's nothing. It's just business as usual. And for the last few minutes, he's like, yeah, I don't think I got it. I think I'm slow, like by 30 or 40 seconds or something.
Oh, really?
So that's kind of how we ended the video. Yeah.
That's why there probably was no big excitement, right?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Another YouTube video, somebody created a portable GameCube based on a mock-up from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago. His name was Ginger of Oz, and it seems like he does a lot of handheld mods. So like creating designs for, I think he did like a portable Wii and stuff like that. So he makes the designs, he 3D prints them, he does like all the cutting of the boards and all that stuff and putting it into like a compact package. But basically the story is there was a mock-up, kind of a faux mock-up that was made 15 years ago for a GameCube portable. And his whole premise was, I'm going to make it as photorealistically accurate as possible to this original mock-up. But TLDR, he put a Wii inside of it because a Wii can be chopped up much smaller, and a Wii has a GameCube in it, like 100% backwards compatibility, all that stuff. So it's a lot easier to do that with a Wii because it requires less power and all that stuff. But the caveat was he was not able to put a disk drive in it. So that little slot that you see on the pictures is just decoration.
Oh, okay.
And so he's using an actual like system for emulation and whatnot in there, as opposed to
that almost makes it more useful, honestly.
Right. The battery life, he said, is like just under an hour and a half, which is not the most useful, but
yeah,
it works. It looks
that's
super
amazing.
Cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, YouTube video. And he made it look almost identical to the original mock-up from 15 years ago.
I wish we got more stuff like this, like officially from these companies, where like they're like, okay, we could make a PlayStation 3 at this point now, like basically the size of a PSP. Like that'd be so fun. Even if they just did like, you know how they've been releasing those micro consoles lately, where like, you know, they'll release like a mini Nintendo system with like 40 games on it, or a Genesis with a bunch of games. Like if they did that, but like portable handheld versions, how sweet would that be? That'd be really fun. And like they could totally do it with emulation, so it wouldn't even be that hard.
I feel like Nintendo's getting in there. So, you know, with the Game & Watch systems, they're starting to kind of take advantage of that. And I think at a certain point, it's just about profit. Like, how much do we want to give people where they want more? We can't give them too much because then they'll just feel satiated and that they don't want to continue to buy. So we have to keep them wanting more. So just sprinkling here, this little handheld's going to have a few games in it, you know, and then we're going to come out with another one with a few more games.
Yeah.
I think really the Switch, though, was something that I'm kind of surprised in that regard, where if you think about the fact that they are capable of making a PS3 or probably even a PS4 in portable version, but why would they do that? It's going to take money away from their home console market, probably. But Nintendo's like, you know what? We're just going to make it portable, but also strong enough to run at home on your TV. It did destroy the proper Nintendo handheld scene, which is kind of sad, but they just said screw it at a certain point.
I mean, it is a handheld, the Switch.
Right. But it's not traditional handheld. 3DS, DS, Game Boy. I don't know.
Yeah.
They now don't have
this thing
two
is
markets.
fucking cool,
They have
though.
one big one.
Yeah, that's true. They
is
do
cool.
have one big one now. I don't know. It just makes it more convenient to me. I didn't play a lot
As a
of
consumer, I agree.
portable games.
Yeah.
Like I didn't play a lot of 3DS games and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't either. Did you see this Sonic 2 movie poster?
No, I'm about to look at it for the first time.
So, for anybody who's interested in the Sonic 2 movie, which I really enjoyed the first one, I love Jim Carrey too. They came out with a Sonic 2 poster comes out April 8th in theaters, and it looks identical to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for Genesis. Like
That's
the
really
cover art.
good. That's really clever. What a great
Yeah.
callback.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool.
Yeah, like even
Nothing-
the 2 has like the checkerboard like images on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
There's some Easter eggs in here though, isn't there?
A little bit. Yeah,
That's really clever. I like that.
I can't remember. Have you seen the first one?
No, I have not.
You should watch it. It's
Yeah.
a solid.
I will.
solid
Is it
movie. It's-
available like on Netflix or anything? I'm sure it's on Apple.
Uh,
Like I could like rent it if I want.
I feel like it should be available somewhere.
Maybe I'll watch that tonight. That'd be fun to watch tonight.
I'm just.
I've
checking it
been
out.
meaning to watch it. Like I don't have any reason for not watching it other than I just haven't.
It's on Hulu.
Oh, perfect. I'll watch it on Hulu.
So if you're subscribed to Hulu,
I am.
yeah, and like Paramount Plus, Epix, and DirecTV, it's streaming.
Yeah, I like this. Like this is good fan service, right? Like
Yes.
you know, most people who like didn't, you know, aren't aware of the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 like box art are going to see this and it's going to work perfectly well. Like it perfectly explains that this is the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie, right? But the people who are aware of that are going to see, oh, look, they put the checkerboard pattern on the 2. Like the layout is very similar with Jim Carrey in the back. What's his name in game? Dr. Eggman? Robotnik.
Oh, Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah. And like even his hand is on the 2. Like it's very reminiscent. I love it.
Looking at the 2 posters side by side, Sonic looks a little frumpy in the original like Genesis art, you know, compared
Yeah.
to the new one's like all serious. He's got like a scowl and stuff, and then the original one he's like, I don't know, just kind of has
Yeah.
a silly look to him.
Yeah. Does Tails have 2 tails in the movie? Well, yeah, I guess he does. It's just hidden
Yeah,
by
he does.
Sonic.
Helicopter.
That's fun. I hope the second movie is as well received as the first one. You know that Halo series is coming out like this week, right?
Is it?
I think
All I
so.
saw on Twitter was that the people that created the Halo series did not play or look at the game at all. Like,
That is the direct opposite of what we're talking about right now, right? Here we are talking about how like the makers of this movie, a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie, like really like kind of did this great fan servicey thing with the movie poster, like calling back to the cartridge or the cartridge art. And meanwhile, the Halo guy is out there saying, I don't even know, there's a video game?
I will say though, to their credit, whenever they're talking about bringing a video game out for a movie or TV or something, I don't want to just experience what I've already played already in viewing format. I want it to be a new experience. I want it to be a new story, new, you know, kind of tangent storyline, something, but like in the same universe. You know, give us some backstory on the characters, make us fall in love with those characters more than we already do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun.
I would like it to be respectful, though, of
Sure.
what I've already played. Like when they change it too much and it's the same characters, but it's not the same. They don't have the same character, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Then I get kind of like, well, what am I even watching this for? Like, what you have just put a name of something that I like on something that I don't care about.
Yeah.
Like the
the
Assassin's
original
Creed movie.
Sonic teeth.
The what? Sonic what?
The original Sonic teeth. And look.
Oh, God. That was weird looking. But again, like they heard fan feedback and they, to great expense, I'm sure, changed it to be something much more agreeable.
Also, there's an Assassin's Creed movie.
Yeah, you haven't seen the Assassin's Creed movie?
Oh,
Well, don't.
when did that come out?
Horrific. It seems like it's been quite a while now. I'm gonna guess 10 years ago, more or less. It was loosely based on like concept from the games, but it was
It's a romantic comedy.
yeah.
All right. So the next one, Probably nothing too big to look into, but Nintendo renewed some trademarks for specific games. Zelda Minish Cap, Metroid Zero Mission, Donkey Kong Country 3, and Mach Rider of all games. So the thing that they all have in common is that they're currently available on the Wii U and the 3DS Virtual Console, which is going away in not too long. I don't remember exactly when. I probably should have put that in there, but speculation potentially that it's coming to Nintendo Online service. These games, which there's been rumors about Game Boy games coming, so why not Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance as well? I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
I could see them doing something with Minish Cap though. More than that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think that's Eric's favorite Zelda game. I think that's what he said.
Who's that?
Do they do this often? Like, is there a reason to suspect this out of the order? Do they have to do this with all their properties, or like how frequently do they do this?
There was the one with the 007 that we talked about a while ago.
Oh yeah,
and a few others. But renewing old trademarks for games that we haven't seen in a while is always intriguing because it typically means that they're going to do something with it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. And the last piece of news I thought was super cool. We already know, this is news to me, but they had already announced that Universal Studios is bringing Super Nintendo World. But they've officially announced that it's going to be in 2023.
Oh, wow.
Launch. So they have Super Nintendo World in Japan, and there's like I had linked in the news a kind of a tour of it.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. I don't know. It's basically Disney World for video games. And,
yeah.
You know, lots of swag and expensive stuff to buy, but also rides and experiences. And
yeah, there's that video of Shigeru Miyamoto going through the one in Japan. Like punching the question marks and stuff like that. The question mark blocks and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen that.
Cool.
Super Nintendo World.
Universal Studios in California or Florida?
That's a good question. I'm going to guess both, or why not? Oh, it says Hollywood.
Hollywood. Okay.
Hollywood, Florida. All right.
Hollywood, Florida. That's where my father used to live. Hollywood, Florida.
Metal Slug.
Metal Slug. Jay, you had a choice last week, right? I gave you the choice between Contra and Metal Slug. There was some debate. There's some internal turmoil. I could tell. Well, how do you feel about the decision? Eventually, you landed on Metal Slug.
I'm very happy with the decision, and I'll tell you why. It's way more forgiving than Contra.
Yeah, that's true.
Just playing through it, you know, you still get killed with one hit, but you basically get the equivalent of just right out of the gate 40 lives, 50 or 60. Is it? Do you get 3 lives per continue or 2?
I think you get 3, like the one you start with, and then 2 additional.
Okay, so it's the equivalent of 60 lives because you get 20 continues and 3 lives per continue, right?
Wow, that's a lot.
So, and also if you continue, you start right where you left off. Like it doesn't start at the beginning of the level.
No.
A lot of times too, when you spawn back in, you get like a power up just dropped on the ground for you.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Here's extra fast guns. There are some things. I played it on the PSP. I wanted to play it on the Switch as well and kind of compare them.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I kind of ran out of time.
Yeah.
But
that was cool though. Like you tweeted that you found that copy. Did you get that off of eBay? Like, did you bought that copy for this show?
Yes. Yes.
That's a cool thing because it's the anthology. It's got 1 through 6.
Yep. 1 through 6.
For the PSP.
Because 7, which is XX, is also on the PSP.
Yeah.
Which I did not pick up, but maybe eventually. But yeah, I mean, I've tinkered with this game in the past, but really kind of digging into it now and trying to kind of analyze everything. It was awesome. there's more platforming and whatnot than I remembered.
Yeah.
And I was terrible in the tank.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Because
tank
the
takes some
tank,
getting used to you.
it has like kind of a slow movement in the gun. If something's coming in front of you and you're shooting something behind you, it's like it takes a second to get the gun to rotate forward.
One of the
Which is much
funny
different
stories
than.
about this game is that the game was originally supposed to be that tank game, right? It's like
Okay.
they didn't add they initially tested it. They did location testing when they were finished with the game, and it was a tank game. It was Metal Slug, the tank game. You controlled those tanks, and the response was not good. So it doesn't surprise me that you didn't like playing the tank that much because
It was
like,
it wasn't very mobile. It didn't seem super. I mean, it was strong, but not so much stronger than the dude. But it
yeah,
was more just the maneuverability that in a fast game, having something that's kind of slow and trotting is tough to deal with.
right. So for anybody, I should put the gameplay up. But for anybody who's unaware of this game, it is a side-scrolling action platformer, right? It's like a side-scrolling shooter. It was developed. It was released in April 19th of 1996 on the NEO GEO, and there's an arcade version as well as a home console version. The arcade version obviously is a lot easier because you just keep hitting, continue forever. There is no limit to the continues. You can just, keep putting quarters.
That's nice.
Virtual quarters in there.
Right.
The game's named after the tank. The tank is the Metal Slug that they're referring to in the game. It's created by Nazca, which is a group of programmers who left Irem in the 90s to create games for Neo Geo. And then they were later acquired by SNK. These guys actually, when they were with Irem, they had already started developing this style, like this art style. Have you ever seen In the Hunt, the game?
Isn't that a newer game?
No, it's like a submarine game from the 90s.
Oh, then no, I haven't.
In the Hunt, I think Gun Force 2.
Okay.
There were several like kind of spiritual successors, predecessors to this game that were developed by Irem. Irem actually went out of business. They didn't go out of business. They stopped developing video games. They let off all their employees, and these guys went on to. It's a little unclear actually if they formed Nazca or if SNK just hired them, but there was some kind of contractual thing that was a little bit. So they couldn't just hire them outright. So they kind of set up this like kind of dummy corporation so that they could make games for the Neo Geo. Like it's a little unclear. It seems like there might be some like legal stuff that people can't talk about. But this game was developed by about 10 people. Simultaneously, they started working on Neo Turf Masters, which is the second best golf game of all time behind Mario Golf for the N64. Neo Golf. Neo Turf Masters. Look that one up on price charting, please. I think it's like 10 or 15 grand for a cartridge.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. The last one that sold on price charting was May 5th of 2021 for $28,000.
$28,000. What a bargain for one of the best golf games of all time. It is legitimately a super fun game. So it's weird because they were making like that game and Metal Slug in like concurrently, like this new company, and they ended up being two of the best games for the Neo Geo. When I first ran into these games, it wasn't actually that long ago. It was when I got kind of like into like retro gaming in like 2019. Like I kind of reignited my kind of interest in it, maybe 2018. And one of the things that I had done was I downloaded an emulator for the Neo Geo because I'd never played Neo Geo games other than at an arcade, and that was always fighting games. Mm-hmm. And like I had seen pictures of these games, but I had never played them. And one of the first games I played was Metal Slug, and I was just blown away by the animation quality. Not just the animation quality, but by how much animation there is, because it's not just the characters that are animated, but the whole level is just seems like everything is moving all the time. Like there's so much destructible elements in this pixel art, which you just didn't see. Like it just is. it's just such a foreign concept to look at that it really is something to behold. But then you start playing and you're like, oh, this game actually plays really good too, with like really fun controls. And the music is really fun. And it's got this kind of strangely lighthearted humor to it, even though it's like this massively violent game. Like,
yeah. It's not as gritty as Contra or something like that. It's
no. Contra feels so serious and so, it's very like hard-nosed. Or this is
tactical.
Yeah, this is like it shares a lot of the same gameplay elements, but it is somehow much more whimsical and fun in that, in that kind of weird way. Not to say that Contra isn't fun. Yeah, seriously. Like the way the guys scream when you light them on fire is somehow funny.
It's always like there's also these little prisoners that you have to get free, and then you have to like go to them, and then they drop power-ups and whatnot.
Yeah.
That is such a unique mechanic that you don't see in games like this. Usually it's just you're dodging stuff and pop-ups or power-ups drop from enemies, but power-ups are dropping from friendlies here and also enemies. So, I don't know. It's super unique and a lot of fun.
It reminds me of a shooter, right? Whereas like a shooter, you'd be like shooting the power-up like guy, right? Like there'd be a guy that would come onto the screen, you shoot him, he drops a power-up, and then your gun gets more powerful. It's like that mechanic, but in a side-scrolling like action platformer.
Yeah. I don't know. It was super cool.
Yeah, very cool. Like the game blows you away. So I was really confused about the history of this game. Like, what am I actually looking at? Because the games are named weird. So Metal Slug Super Vehicle 001 is the original game. That's the one that we are talking about today. There's another one. The next one is Metal Slug 2 Super Vehicle 001/2, which is pretty clear. Like, it says Metal Slug 2 right in the title. But then there's Metal Slug X, which is a remake of Metal Slug 2, but it doesn't say 2 anywhere in the title. It's just a remake of 2 that says X on it, right? Then there's Metal Slug 3, and those are the original 3 games that were developed by Nazca. After that, SNK went bankrupt and sold the Metal Slug, I keep saying Metal Gear. They sold the Metal Slug franchise to Mega Enterprises, which is actually a real company name, Mega Enterprise. And the next, I believe, 2 were created by Mega Enterprise and Noise Factory. That was Metal Slug 4 and Metal Slug 5. But this SNK buys the Metal Slug franchise back and made 6, 7, and Double X. And Double X is a remake of 7 that came out. Because 7 came out on the Nintendo DS, so Double X came out on Xbox Live and PSP.
Right, I imagine that Double X is much better played on the Xbox and PSP. DS is such a small screen. I don't know.
Yeah. I honestly have never played the DS version. I do own, honestly, a PlayStation 4 version of Double X. I got from Limited Run a few years ago.
One, yeah.
Yeah. It came in like this like collector's edition box and everything. Cost me a mint. But
dope.
Honestly, it's pretty fun. But
Does that add functionality and stuff, or is it just basically a port?
No, it's just a port. In fact, I also, from Limited Run, bought the Metal Slug Anthology, the same thing you have on the PSP. And this is literally a PlayStation 2, like it boots up the PlayStation 2 emulator. I was kind of disappointed when I first booted it up, to be honest with you. But once you're playing the game, it feels good and it feels fun.
Yeah.
But it's like you're emulating a NEO GEO in a PlayStation 2 emulator on a PlayStation 4. Like, I'm just gonna boot up the Mister.
Did you try the Switch version at all? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't. I had no reason to buy it.
I kind of, man, I'm feeling kind of sad that I didn't now.
Why?
Because I just wanted to see if it played different. The PSP version there's the slightest bit of input delay, which was strange to me because you're playing on a handheld console. Did you experience that? Like with the platforming, it felt like I had to hit the button a little bit before what I would have expected.
No, I played on the Mister, so it's pretty lag free. Also on a CRT.
Yeah, so weird. But it was still fun to play, for sure.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the Metal Slug series now, and actually most Neo Geo games, is that you can get them on PlayStation or Switch, or I think they're on Xbox as well. And they're like somewhere between like $3 to $7 per game.
Yeah, they're not expensive.
And also you can download them on a PC. You know, most of the fighting games are in Fightcade, but Metal Slug. Honestly, this series keeps getting better straight up to Metal Slug 3. Like, it just gets, like, more fun and more ridiculous. Like, this game is, like, it's kind of not reality-based, but it's, like, it's a little more based in reality where it's, like, you go through, what would you call the first level? Like, I always thought about it as, like, almost like a Vietnam-ish kind of place.
Yeah, it's
like a
jungly.
jungle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second level is, like, I always thought was, like, France or something in, like, World War II, or I don't know, like European. And then you go to like like the ice level, and then kind of back to Europe. Whereas in like 2, you go to like Egypt, and you can get turned into like a mummy, and you fight aliens and stuff like that. It gets a little more ridiculous as it goes along in the series.
I did not beat it, so I didn't get that far.
Oh, okay. No, in 2.
Oh, 2. I was gonna say I don't remember aliens.
No aliens in 1. In 1, it's really just like the general who's a little Nazi-ish, not sure, like, toss around that Nazi word a lot lately, but I think he's got like the cross, like the black cross and the white circle.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
The bad guy has it.
Oh.
Yeah, General.
I thought you were saying the protagonist was.
No.
He does look a little pissed off though, like, oh boy.
Yeah, the art in this game is so good. Also,
the style is amazing.
The Metal Slug: The Ultimate History from Bitmap Books. This actually just arrived today, but this is just an incredible book. It has like a ton of art in it.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, a ton of interviews with the developers. Really amazing. Unfortunately, it literally came about 3 hours ago, so I didn't get to put a lot of notes into the show notes from reading it.
All right.
But man, it's like 500 pages, and it's really just a beautiful book.
How long did that take to get to you?
I ordered off of Amazon. I actually paid a little bit more to get it off of Amazon because I wanted to get it for the show.
Well, it looks like it's out of stock too on Bitmap Books, which is a UK site.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I got it off of Amazon. I think it was like $62 or something to get it delivered.
Yeah, I'm looking at 60, 65.
Okay. Which I'll be honest with you, I think is absolutely worth it because this book is just gorgeous. And there's just so much information. It's so dense with information and interviews and concept art.
Logo concepts too. That's super cool.
Yeah, very neat. So I've been pouring over that for like the last 2 hours since it got delivered.
And sprite animations too.
Yeah, if you're interested in Metal Slug, I highly recommend it. Actually, I'm gonna be ordering some more stuff from Bitmap Books based on how much I love this. Like, this is a really nice package.
Yeah,
it seems very high quality. It's printed on really nice paper. And it's nice to have like a book, instead of just reading shit off an internet webpage.
Right, that's good to know because we've talked about some of their books that they've come out with, like the Virtual Boy and the Game Boy stuff. So.
Yeah. Very cool.
And then there's a new Metal Slug Tactics game coming out this year.
That's right. I'm actually really excited about this because, like, the personality of the characters in Metal Slug 1, you only get to play as, I think his name is Rosso. What's his name? Marco Rossi. Or if you play as the second player, because you can play 2 players simultaneously, you can play as the other guy. And it's in 2, 3, 4, like whatever, you could actually select your character. And those characters had a lot of personality to them. So, like, playing a tactics game with these characters, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick this up for sure.
For Nintendo Switch and Steam?
Yeah, April, right? Isn't it, like, next month?
I don't know if is there a date?
I had heard April.
It says TBA.
Well, I hope April. I want these games to start coming out, man.
Yeah, right?
I got a lot of stuff like I'm looking forward to. That Capcom Fighting Collection, the Cowabunga Collection, This.
The Advanced Wars collection on Switch too.
Yeah.
That's I think that's coming out.
Didn't that get delayed again?
Did it? Oh no.
I think it got delayed because of the war in Ukraine.
Oh.
They didn't want to release a war game.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that why they said like this? I think I got an email saying, "Oh, it just says TBD now." Ah, man.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news on that one.
Yeah, I didn't hear that at all. Interesting. And on Amazon, I got an email saying it was delayed to December, but I think that was just like Amazon doing what they do and just making it like,
like a placeholder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
I can understand that. I'm excited for that eventually whenever it gets there. I have it pre-ordered too. I pre-ordered it a month and a half ago. There you go.
I was trying to pre-order that Cowabunga collection, but I couldn't find a place that has it listed yet.
I couldn't either. Physical copy.
Yeah, hopefully that Cowabunga collection gets one.
Oh, I'm sure.
I hope it's not like a limited run thing,
No, I'm pretty sure it's no, actually I confirmed because that was one of my hangups too. I want a physical version of that, and you can absolutely I confirmed that on stream a couple of weeks ago because we were talking about it, and somebody found that yes, it is coming out as a physical copy.
Glad to hear it.
Especially with like, freaking stores shutting down. Why would I want to have digital anything at this point?
I think if you're buying digital games on the Switch right now, you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't know why anybody would buy anything digital on a Nintendo platform. Honestly,
No.
Even Sony, they're trying to shut down their shit too.
Right. There's no guarantee. It is more convenient, but just and up until what? I think the Switch stuff is locked to your account, but before that it was locked to the console. Like,
yeah, with the
if
Wii
you had a
and the
Wii with-
Wii U, right? Wii U's like that, or just the Wii?
I know for sure the Wii. I can't remember if the Wii U is or not, but imagine having a console and you're not getting any value for selling it to somebody because other people don't give a shit.
Nope.
And you're just losing those games that you paid for.
Yeah.
It's gone.
A virtual console, that's what kind of pissed me off about the virtual console. It's like, that store that I put so much money into it, I'd love to see those games transfer over.
And that, well, a lot of them aren't even available to play or buy now.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's so weird.
So what is next week's game?
So I'm gonna give you a choice.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna tell you.
All right.
They are both. I will give you some information. They are both NES games.
All right.
And they're both platforming games.
Okay.
Like platforming adventure. One of them is a well-known game that I'm sure you've played. The other one is a more obscure game that I'm pretty confident you have never played.
Oh, I'm gonna go with that one then. Give me the obscure one.
The more obscure one. Do you want me to show you what the well-known one is?
Sure.
DuckTales.
Oh, I'd like to play that one.
Have you not played this one?
I don't think I have.
Oh.
I think no. Wait, that's the one with. It's the pogo stick, right? You're.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've played it.
You play as Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, you play as Scrooge. Yeah, I
the one that we're gonna have in 2 weeks. Felix the Cat.
Oh, interesting. I definitely never played that.
Yeah. So this is this is one of those hidden gems that people talk about often, about it being a fantastic game, but just was not really a well-known game. I think it might have come out later in the lifespan of the NES. Trying to find a year on the back. 92.
Oh, very late.
Yeah. It is not a cheap game, especially now. It's gone way up in price just for even a cart. I think it's like $100, but yeah.
Probably.
I don't know if there's anywhere that you can play this other than emulation.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a bummer. That's too bad. I mean, I got no problem with that, but
yeah, I don't know if there's any.
Like it hasn't been re-released in any form, or put out in a compilation. Has DuckTales actually?
Oh yeah. The remaster. There's literally a remastered version from the Wii U.
Isn't that a brand new
PS3 era
game though?
No, it had the original ones on it. I think.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Felix the Cat next week. I will be looking forward to checking that out. I've never played that. I've never really looked at it. Is it like? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the DuckTales remaster is just It's literally just a high definition version of the original.
Oh, it is. It's like a shot for shot remake.
I think so.
It wasn't particularly well received, which was unfortunate.
It was well reviewed from what I saw, but it's also a little bit expensive now for the Wii U version.
Yeah. How much?
What were you gonna say?
I don't remember. How much is it?
DuckTales remastered?
Yeah.
I think the Wii U version goes for like $80 now.
Jesus. What? When Wii U games start getting expensive, you know we got a problem happening.
Well, it's inevitable. Oh wait, no, sorry. Wow, I'm all over the place. Wii U is like 40, 35, 40. I swore that one of them was getting expensive. Maybe it came down. I don't know. Never mind. It's fine. But I think it released for like $30 brand new or something. It wasn't very expensive.
Yeah. Well, did it only get a physical copy on the Wii U? Did it get a PlayStation release or an Xbox release?
PS3, Xbox 360 for that. Yeah.
Physical?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's good. I have some pickups this week, Jay. So I'm going to go first because it's not many.
Sure.
And get it out of the way. So we talk about Primal Rage that book, for one. This just came. I'm really excited. I'm going to read it tonight.
I just came too. What?
Nice. We always talk about Primal Rage on this website. On this show. I don't know why it keeps coming up, but it does. So I picked up a copy. I was at the game shop today. I'm like, oh, Primal Rage. Yeah. We're always talking about Primal Rage. I picked up a copy. It is a hurting unit, unfortunately. The label
was that like on the discount? The discount shelf, you got it for like $2.
It was. I think it was $9 or $10.
Okay.
So I probably got ripped off, but figured, you know what? I'm gonna bring it home. I'm gonna boot it up, and yeah, this game still sucks, but now I have a beat up copy.
We're gonna have to do that game at some point.
Yeah, but we talk about it so often. Like I just had to I remember it not being a fun game, but kind of I don't know, not being a fun game. I think is not the right word. It was kind of fun because it was dinosaurs fighting. You know, like that in itself was kind of fun. I don't know. And they also had a copy of Killer Instinct.
Nice.
For the Super Nintendo.
For a combo.
Now I have a copy of it for the Super Nintendo and for the Nintendo 64. And this is just kind of neat because it's a black cartridge too.
Yeah. Gotta love the colored cartridges.
Yeah. This one's a little beat up as well, but not nearly as bad as Primal Rage, but whatever. And then I also found a copy. Let me take off the label because it reveals the location. I like that my retro game store has these stickers to put prices on games that are like easy to remove, you know? But actually, this one's kind of stuck on here. All right, there we go. I found a copy of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for the PS3, which I don't think is really retro, but, you know, whatever. Some people do, so I'll put it on the list of pickups. This game was one of those games that I just missed. People seem to like it a lot better than
it was a good game.
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So I actually booted this up this afternoon. I threw it in my PlayStation 3. And it looked great. Like it's, polygonal graphics, which it looked good though. I thought it looked pretty good for a Capcom fighting game with polygonal graphics of this era. And that's it. Those were my pickups. But looking forward to playing all those games. All fighting games for some reason, but I didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happened.
I feel like you're starting to get the collector itch.
Yeah, maybe. I'm half more tempted to buy stuff like this though. The books.
Yeah.
Because I can already play just about anything from like 2000 and below, right? Like anything made up till about the year 2000, you can already play, right? Well, like, so like buying those cartridges and those discs is of less value than buying a book that really tells me everything about the games and like that kind of thing. Like I almost find I get more enjoyment out of that than getting a cartridge.
Sure.
We'll
yeah,
see.
It's a sweet book.
It is a sweet book, but I got some sweet games too. And this Primal Rage, needs a little TLC, but I'll give it the respect it deserves that it never got.
Well, I just, the complete copy that I got not that long ago is also beat to hell. It's just one of those games that it feels appropriate. Getting a mint Primal Rage, you're like, why? Dinosaurs are fighting each other. Why is it not beat up? Probably threw it across the room out of frustration.
Maybe.
So I got some feedback. Sometimes people will pop into chat and, occasionally and say, really enjoy the podcast. Thanks for doing that. You're helping me through my workday, listening in and stuff like that.
Oh, good.
And my question to them is always, what's your most favorite and your least favorite parts of the show, just for like feedback's sake. And I often get different answers for the favorite part, but for the least favorite part, a couple of times I've gotten that the pickups take a little long.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more cherry picky, choosy instead of showing like all 20 games of 2 weeks or something. I'll try to pick like 4 to 5, maybe 6 games to show the highlights, because some of the stuff it's kind of pointless. But just feedback is good. I like hearing things that make stuff better. So a few Genesis games and a few Nintendo games. Golden Axe.
Oh yeah.
So I got a big SNES and a big Genesis lot from somebody on Mercari, and it just had a bunch of pictures of stuff, just like one picture, just kind of an overlaying shot. And I didn't know what condition this was going to be in. I didn't know if it had the manual or anything.
Yeah.
And sure enough,
got the manual.
complete in box.
Oh, that's interesting. The
like,
manual, that's the Sega Classics box, but the manual looks like the original manual.
Yeah, it's just like the greatest hits for Genesis, essentially. So I didn't have this in my collection, so happy to get that Golden Axe as a classic. I thought about choosing it for this week.
So that was one of my favorite games of my childhood to play at the arcade. Right? In the arcade, I was just I just thought it was the most boss ass game, with like the dragon fire coming down for the magic, and the chick in the bikini was just so fucking hot. And oh man, that game was
getting hot and bothered 8 bits.
It was just such a badass game. They had it. My mother used to take me down to Florida once a year. We had like a timeshare down there, and there's an arcade at the timeshare. And the arcade kind of sucked, but it had Golden Axe, and that was the game I always played.
Nice. It was one. I feel like it was one of the first kind of beat 'em ups with magic and stuff.
Yeah.
And PPs. Didn't it still have like magic energy? It was one of the. I feel like it was one of the first that had that.
Yeah, you had to remember you'd be sleeping by the campfire, and those fucking magic squirrels would come and steal all your vials, and you had to run around kicking them.
They were the little gnomes or whatever with the bags, right? And you had to hit them, and they'd like drop the stuff.
Yeah, you had to like kick them to like get them to drop your magic vials again.
Come back here, you son of a bitch!
And they were fucking fast too. It was hard to catch them.
Yeah. Another Genesis game, Mutant League Football.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. They just made a new one of those like a few years ago too.
They did, yeah. The case is larger too because it had a whole bunch of stuff in there. It had like cards and stuff.
Really? Is that an EA game?
It's a good question. I don't think so. Oh no, it is Electronic Arts.
Is there a yellow tab on the cartridge?
No.
No.
Oh
okay.
wait, yes.
Oh, okay. Because I always thought the EA games came in cardboard, not the plastic cases.
I don't know. Yeah, I have the hockey game, which is also in the case.
Oh, okay. Oh, Mutant League Hockey? Yeah. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So these are basically arcade sports games, which are super cool.
Yeah, they were fun.
I've never played them, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't played them.
It'd be a good pick for one of our weekly games because, I know sports games are the most popular thing, but yeah, crossover, I think. There's some crossover because it's like a little bit crazy
like
with
NBA Jam. Yeah.
Sure.
The next one is Toxic Crusaders. Again, these not every single. There was a couple that weren't with manuals, but I already had those anyways. Toxic Crusaders, which I think this is different than the NES version, maybe. But it's
It's got the tab on it still.
Yeah. Yeah, he took
that must be an early game. It's got the grid. It's not the red box.
About it. Yeah, it's well, no, it says 92.
I wonder when they switched over to the red box. That'd be worth knowing.
Or no, 92 was pretty early for Genesis. Never mind.
It came out in like December '89, right? So it was somewhat early.
Mutant League Hockey was 93. Golden Axe would be, well, this is the remake, so it doesn't even have the year on here. I'd probably have to check the manual. Fine. Just curious, because this would be like one of the original games, right? It doesn't even have it. It's fine. I can't find it. I have to look it up. We'll have to have that as a game of the week one time.
So apparently in '93 they switched over to the red stripe boxes from the grid boxes. When they came out with the Genesis 2. Remember the Genesis 2?
Oh, yeah. That's what this guy had. He sent me the the Genesis 2 plus a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So, 3 more games. The best game of all time for the N64, Superman. Complete in box. I don't know why. Why do I like getting shitty games, bro?
I don't know. I was just wondering that myself. So I wonder, has the price of that game gone up since it's like because of the infamy of it being literally like the shittiest game of all time in many people's opinion?
It's starting to get expensive. I think card only is in the 15 to 20 range now, and complete in box is in the 100 range now.
Okay.
Yeah, buying games for the memes. Yeah, why not? My collection, I'll do what I want with it.
Yeah.
The next one is Brain Lord for the SNES, which I actually got.
What was it called? Brain Lord?
It's kind of hard to see, isn't it? Brain Lord. It is a RPG. It looks kind of like Link to the Past a little bit.
Really?
It was well received. Yeah. From Enix. It's an Enix game.
Oh. Before Square Enix?
Yeah, before Square Enix.
Brain Lord. Okay, I'm looking at this one. I had to look this one up.
I have been in the process of like flipping stuff that I don't want to keep and whatnot for the collection, and I have been flipping stuff to DK Oldies. This is not a shout out or a sponsor in any way, but they have solid cash values for certain games, so I've been doing that, but also keeping some credit there as I do. And they happen to have a complete copy of Brain Lord with no pictures, so it was a shot in the dark. But the price was right. It said complete, and I get it. And this thing is like 8 or 9 out of 10 condition. It's got all the maps and posters and everything on the inside. It even had the original plastic for the cart. So I was beyond ecstatic for the condition for the price.
Huh.
Like they priced it for like some of their stuff's a little high, but this one was one that I think they priced at 109 or something or 119. And on eBay, these are going for closer to 200 in this condition. So just if you're picky, similar to the local retro stores and stuff, if you're picky and you take your time to look at what they have, you can find deals pretty much anywhere. But yeah, I was super stoked with that.
This game looks so weird. You're right. It looks like almost a cross between like Zelda and Final Fantasy or something. But there's a jump button. Like it looks like you can make your character jump in the air. And he's fighting robots with a mace. Like that's weird.
Kind of like Super Mario RPG, you can jump to.
Yeah. Weird.
Okay, got good reviews, so I'm excited about it. Oh, good. Last game. I've been targeting this for some reason. Just as soon as I realized that this is the only game for the NES that has an ESRB rating.
Is it
like
really?
I think it's the last official released game for the NES or something like that. 1994.
Wow.
So as soon as I learned that, I wanted to get it complete in box. So I finally found a decent. It's kind of hard to find too. Like it's not super expensive, but it's not cheap. But it's just not a lot of them pop up online. So I've been looking for a couple of months now, and I finally found a decent condition copy. It's not mint, but
I kind of like the box art.
Yeah, I've never played this game before. Actually, they haven't.
neither.
The one that everybody knows is the Super Nintendo version, which is fairly cheap to find
Is
and
it?
easy to find. But it's a platforming game, or excuse me, not a platform, a puzzle game,
Yeah.
kind of
Is
like
the Super
Dr.
Nintendo
Mario.
version the same game?
I believe so.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It looks good. The NES version looks. Oh wait, I'm looking at the Super Nintendo version. My bad. Oh yeah, the NES version doesn't look nearly as good. God damn, that's a good looking NES game. It doesn't look bad. It looks like an NES game, though. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was cool that just for the history's sake that it's the only NES game with an ESRB rating.
Yeah, I'm a fan of anything that Wario is in. Although it looks like you're controlling Toad in this.
He looks pissed.
Toad looks
There's a
pissed.
picture on the back that he just looks angry. He's just
Oh,
tossing a turnip or something.
You'd be mad if you had to
pissed.
wear that hat all day too. It's heavy.
Have you seen the like meme renditions of him without the hat on and his head just looks that same shape and it's like a swimmer's cap? It's like, what the fuck?
Poor Toad gets no respect.
That's it for me though.
That's it?
Oh wait, excuse me. One more thing real quick. I got the Pokemon Game Boy Color, the yellow one now to go with my gold one.
I like that one. That one looks a lot like the N64. The Pokemon N64.
This
I
is
like
one of
that
those
one.
ones that's very heavily used when people refurb stuff. They use this shell, but like, an aftermarket shell. This is the real one.
Oh, really?
It's-
Okay.
Yeah, like you can usually tell by looking at the back labels and stuff,
Yeah.
or if the colors are slightly different. I don't know. I was excited about it.
Yeah, that's neat. I like the special edition systems. I wonder if they're gonna do that like going forward. Like I guess they did a few Switches, right? And they did PS4s.
They did a lot of switches.
Yeah. Did they do a lot of Switches?
Yeah, Fortnite, Animal Crossing.
They did a Fortnite Switch?
There's like multiple Pokemon ones. Yeah.
Huh.
There's
Oh,
quite
I
a
must
few.
have missed them. I know I saw the Mario one where it was red, and I thought that was cool that they actually made the Switch red as opposed to just having
Yeah.
the controllers be red.
I think there's
and
like
then-
8 to 10 special edition switches.
I think Tefty
lot.
got the Animal Crossing one, even though he doesn't play Animal Crossing. He got that like literally days before they announced the OLED.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was tragic.
I bet you were upset.
I told it was going to happen. I was actually asking him, Tefty, you got to buy that Animal Crossing Switch so they could release the OLED one. At the time, we didn't know if it was going to be the OLED one or if it was going to be the Switch Pro, right? It's like we're still holding that hope. Alas, it was the $350 OLED one.
Yeah.
I'm getting pretty hyped about that. Go ahead.
I was going to say the problem with consoles is they take up so much space. I like the special edition handhelds because they're small.
Yeah, that's true.
Boxes and all that.
That's true.
You're excited for what?
I'm really looking forward to the Steam Deck. I'm more excited about that than I am about the Pocket at this point. It's been so well reviewed, the Steam Deck has, and it's so easy to get retro games playing on it. I'm really excited for that because the Pocket, they still haven't jailbroken the Pocket, which I really did expect them to do pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that thing loses a lot of functionality to me personally if it's not jailbroken, if I can't play.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah.
You'll have to let me know how the Steam Deck is since I canceled my pre-order. But you can't even play Destiny on the Steam Deck, so I was like, well.
Well, you can't. You might be able to if you load Windows on it.
I think, well, yeah, officially you can't run it. I don't know how much I really want to deal with that because the idea of the Steam Deck is that it's portable, and most of the time I don't leave the house anyways. So
Yeah, I'm not really excited about playing Destiny on it. It would have been nice if you could play Destiny on it like natively. But what I'm more excited about is playing like retro games on it.
Sure.
Because I like playing retro games and I like playing them on a handheld console, and the Switch, unfortunately, doesn't really satisfy my needs that way. In some regards it does, but in some regards it doesn't. The Steam Deck will, Just put a whole shitload of ROMs on that fucker and off to the races.
I have so many handhelds that I can hack, like Vitas and 3DSs and DSs and PSPs.
Yeah,
and
I've done that as well, but I don't like the PS Vita that I have that's unlocked. It's just so fiddly, like to getting all the software going, and you have to do it basically every time you turn it on. Like, I think the Steam Deck is going to be just a much smoother experience, and being able to play up to GameCube. I mean, even Switch games, honestly.
Sure.
I don't know if you ever seen Metroid Dread in 4K 60 FPS, but it's fucking quite a sight to
I
behold.
didn't include that in my pickups, but I did get Metroid Dread as part of a Switch lot.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a great game. Have you played that yet?
I haven't.
Oh, what a treat.
Got it like 2 days ago.
What a treat.
Excited.
That was my favorite game last year by kind of a long shot.
Interesting. What's your favorite this one so far? Elden Ring?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Anything else?
I think that's it. I think we're good to go.
Short and sweet. Felix the cat.
Felix the cat. Next week.
Next week.
Next week. Thank you all for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.